What's up, guys? Welcome back to Viewer Castles. Today we're going to start off with Badgrandpa 7. Past level to 20, so we'll jump into it on my knight.
Let's do this thing.
Alright, let's see. What is this going to pull? Looks like I double pulled accidentally because I didn't rotate my camera. So we have some killer crabs here. Never really has been my favorite unit in the world just because it's kind of weak. The only thing that it's good at is being in that shell. It reduces the damage quite a bit, but beyond that shell, I think Defendatrons are probably better in every way. They have almost the same amount of tank ability. Actually, like, if you can do a huge amount of damage in one hit, as you noticed right there, that guy was almost full health, and I took him down to almost death. He's one level over me, and I did that in one hit. So you can imagine someone like an archer who has a really high damage headshot could probably one-shot that, whereas a Defendatron has about the same amount of life. The only thing is they do tank a little bit better when they are when they're in their shell like that. So that's really the only thing that's good about them. Both Defendatrons and crabs do low damage, so you can't really expect them to do any real damage. I guess if there's no high priority targets, killer crabs are better, but if there's a high priority target that you want to defend, then that was just different, so it screwed me up for a second. Using Smelly Warriors on that specialization, no one really ever does it. Personally, I don't really like it. They used to be bugged, I'm not sure if they still are. They used to come back as a lower level Skeleton Warrior, I believe, Smelly Warrior. I think that guy must have been on Resurrect. Now, something that you noticed here, actually, the Defendatron is linked to one of these skeletons. So basically, I can tell you what happened. The Dr. Skull walks a little bit quicker than the Defendatron, and as they were walking towards me, the range on the Defendatron got a little bit too long. That, or he got stuck on the corner right here, but the Defendatron made it around. So what you want to do is just test that AI a little bit with yourself. Run to this point in your castle and just see where he gets hung up. If it's just his speed being a problem, that way you can, change the facing and change the position of your Dr. Skull and your Defendatron so that they stay together a little bit more. Or if it's this corner, maybe you'll have to move him a specific area, and that'll, free him up a little bit better. Alright. So yeah, he's on the Raising Hell specialization, which, as I've said, I think it's a pretty cool specialization. I thought it was weak for a while. I still do think it's kind of weak. I do like the healing, actually, at least against knights. If I was an archer, I feel like a volley would still kill most of these. Maybe it's just because I've had higher DPS as an archer for a very long time. I'm gonna heal again. But I think it's an okay specialization. It's not bad. I used to think it wasn't really all that good. They still don't do much damage, but they do have decent tanking potential, and they can be raised over and over and over again, so you could waste a lot of time with them. And eventually they will wear on your hit points if you let them hit you for long enough. Alright. Jimbo. Not the best unit until you get up to level 26 or higher, but they're okay. They still take a chunk of your life away, but it's not nearly as much as when they get up to level 26. Now, you noticed they actually will do higher damage if I get hit in this acid trap that you had here, so I kind of like that combo there. I got hit with 500 base damage when I believe I was still under the debuff, and then the debuff wear off and I only got hit by 300. Because if it was a crit, it should have been almost double, which would have been in the 600. So I think it was just the normal damage when I had the debuff on. I could be wrong, though. So I do like that little combo that you had there. Alright, now I have to be careful because one shot from these this Z could kill me with my low life. I might have to use a potion. Yeah, I'm going to. You can see these Stairmasters do quite a bit of damage to a knight. As an archer, it's a lot easier to dodge them because you have a little bit more room between you and the projectile. But as a knight, you have to stand right up next to them and try to kill them that way. So I do like this specialization. I think it's actually viable at this point. So for people who want to use Stairmasters but don't know what specialization to put them on, because at this level if you put them on Ominous Orb, it just doesn't do enough damage. If you put them on the purple eyeball one, it does great damage, but they're so slow. If you can't force it somehow, then it's also useless. So having that little laser beam specialization is your next, you know, your best bet at this level. Alright, so I'm at the boss room, so hopefully I won't die. I'd like to see how this all works, actually. Is that guy still alive? I'm looking for that little swordsman that I had, but I think I killed him. I wanted to see what level he was and how much damage he did, because I don't normally see this specialization used for the Smelly Warriors, the one that they resurrect themselves from the dead. It seems like they only do it once, or else they would be using the skeletons here to resurrect themselves. But he did resurrect himself off of a Snotter and only took half the hit points away from a Snotter. So if that could work, like, I feel like maybe it wouldn't be super imbalanced if these guys kept trying to resurrect themselves over and over and over again until there was no creatures within the vicinity. Then you could have something that combos really well, where you have these Smelly Warriors, and you have this guy resurrecting units. The resurrected units are now raising their own army, and you kind of have this never-ending cycle. I think that would be pretty cool. But since it only does it once, I don't ever think it's really worth it. Like, I could kill Smelly Warriors over and over and over again. To be honest, the Dr. Skull himself could raise Smelly Warriors as a replacement for the skeletons that he raises, and I still think that would be okay, because they're just not all that strong. I do like Captain Clubbage at this level, and pretty much I've had trouble with him even at level 32, a little bit. He's done quite a bit of damage to my archer. Like, I may die to this, to be honest, because he's a very good boss at this level. And I'm only level 19, and my knight doesn't have the most amazing gear. He has okay defense, but nothing else really. We'll see what I can do. I might be able to kill him. Alright, cool. So I made it through, but I didn't make it on time. I think your castle is pretty good. It was definitely difficult for a knight to get through it, so that's good. Yeah, alright. The only thing that I would say is maybe Smelly Warriors might not be the best thing to have in your castle. Like, I think that could be an improvement. You could do something with your Smelly Warrior group, because you saw, yes, they resurrect themselves, but they're not all that strong. I killed them without really even trying to, just as my normal cleave was just killing them as I was killing off the raising dead skeletons from the Dr. Skull, so not the best unit. We will jump into number 2 in just a second. Alright, for number 2 we have Sheriffen, castle levels 24. Let's see what he's got. Alright, so we see a Scorpio coming around. I didn't see what else, but you can see up here there was a Defendatron, so obviously there's going to be a Defendatron coming with it as well. I could have pulled 2 groups, but I want to see how everything functions by itself. So if you could delay this Defendatron any more than you already are, to make it so that I can't engage it as easily, because you noticed the Defendatron was leading. If the Scorpio is leading, then I have to kind of get around the Scorpio to attack the Defendatron, right? So if there's any way you can delay that Defendatron or speed up your Scorpio just slightly, it would help. Alright, IMAXs are kind of just like a bad version of Stairmasters. I mean, they're a little bit better, but usually having 2 or 3 Stairmasters is better. The only problem is you're not level 28 yet, so you kind of have to use that if you want to use Ominous Orb. I understand that. I think it's okay if you really need to use Ominous Orb for something. But the damage isn't crazily high, where, you know, the 14-point unit, it's not really worth it, in my opinion. You know, it only does 100 damage. At level 28, your Stairmasters are going to do somewhere at around 150, and they're only 5 points. It's a pretty big difference. I just can't really ever... I haven't been able to justify using Stairmasters, or not Stairmasters, IMAXs. I haven't been able to justify using them since they came out. I tried a couple of times, and they just don't do what I want them to. I've seen a couple boss rooms where I've had some troubles using with the Ominous Orb IMAX when I was a little bit lower level. So I mean, it has some merit. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It could just be because I'm high level now, honestly, and I'm against a level 24 IMAX. It might be that, you know, they do around 200 or 250 damage to lower level people around your level, so honestly, it could not be that bad. I like the Scorpio here to pull you on the spike trap. This is the level where you kind of can make a choice between rotating cannon and spike traps. They both do similar things. They just do it a little bit differently. Spike traps are slightly better at zoning the hero out of a location, and rotating cannon traps are a little bit better at actually dealing a significant amount of damage. They're both dodgeable. As you can see, I kind of just dodged this rotating cannon trap. So, you know, it's just kind of up to the player as to exactly what he wants. If you can force someone to fight around a spike trap, it's a lot less deadly than if you try to force somebody to fight around a rotating cannon trap. Because taking a full 4 ticks of this fire damage does way more damage than a single tick of the spike trap damage. I'm gonna have to use a potion there. So yeah, you can see I'm actually getting whittled down by traps plus the IMAX. It does start to add up over time. And this is a level, you know, 24, 25 castle? I don't remember exactly what I said, but there's level 24 IMAXs in it, so. Alright, I don't really want to wait around for this, but I will. And then I'll just pull this. I do like how you have that specifically right there to pull this group. I think that's pretty good. I'm wondering maybe if you could have it back just slightly though, so that I'm not really as inclined to just step on the unactive panel like I did and then hit it once and then come back over the spike trap. Because obviously, actually, to be honest, fighting an IMAX in this location right here is almost as difficult as fighting it between the two spike traps. Right? This kind of functions as its own spike trap. If I wanted to fight that anywhere else, to be honest, I would have to fight it all the way back here, which is a very long time to pull a group, so I think it's fine. Either way, I think it's fine the way it is right now, to be honest. And you have two IMAXs using the same one of these. I think it's an okay idea, but I do think your groups are a little repetitive, I would say. It's probably not fun for attackers. I mean, obviously that's not generally the goal. You want to defend your own loot, but if you can do it with at least a couple different groups rather than just IMAXs. If someone is like well equipped to deal with IMAXs, your castle is going to be kind of a cakewalk for them. Basically, if someone has super high DPS or high enough magical resistance, like mages might not have much of a problem because a lot of your damage is magic. And then archers that have a very good crit headshot percentage will be able to headshot the Defendatron and headshot the IMAX within a matter of a couple seconds. Because, like I've said before, the resistances on an IMAX are actually exactly the same as a Stairmaster. The only difference is that they have, I think, a little bit over double the amount of hit points that the other ones do, but that's really not like the biggest deal in the world. When you actually get a crit off of a headshot, generally you're going to one-shot something unless it has high resistances to your physical damage. Alright, so this is another castle that has these resurrecting skeletons, and I believe they actually have not been fixed yet, unless that's actually their damage. I'm not sure. But as you can see, the damage from these guys is very negligible. That's why I don't really think they're the best unit ever. The time it takes, like when they're being resurrected, it kind of stuns the monster that they're being resurrected from, and then on top of that, the damage that they do once they resurrect themselves is so low that you can kind of ignore it and just attack whatever you feel like. But other than that, it's a pretty good castle. You know, you used a lot of IMAXs, so I would say try to rush for your level 28 castle so that you get those Stairmasters because they're just better. You know, you can put more of them in your castle, which makes it even more difficult for people to get through. But yeah, other than that, pretty good castle. We'll jump into number 3 in just a second. Alright, and lastly we have Badgrandpa. Castle level is 17.
Nice username. How long did it take you to come up with that one?
Let's see. Defendatron right up here. What is it guarding? Just a smelly archer. So this group is already not a full group. It's the first thing that I can say. I can't believe I wasn't able to click on that snouter for like five clicks. Alright. You only have, what, 10 points here? Let's see. Maybe those were just the leftover points. You chose to use them at the beginning of your castle, which I think is fine. You know, if any health globes drop from them, then you can't really pick them up. That's one benefit. The only downside is that as like a knight you can start gaining some mana from that first group. Alright, Zeke is pretty standard. It is a tight spot for Zeke to fight in. Kind of like more open spots for archers, tighter spots for, you know, Cyclopses and stuff like that. But I think it's okay. Not a bad thing. Alright, right here, I'm a little confused. So your Defendatron was a little bit too far away from the other groups, the other mobs. So, like, he wasn't defending anything. And then, when I made this sharp corner, I'm basically able to get to these archers very easily. They're not really spread out in different directions, which might be a better way of doing it. And then the third thing is you have 2 mines here, which if I didn't go straight to here and I went straight to the Defendatron, I could use these mines to juke around the archer shots a lot easier. So these mines are kind of hindering you in my opinion. Alright, another standard group for Zeke. This Defendatron is a little bit off the mark from the Zeke, so if I was an archer I could easily line up a headshot right here. I think maybe it's because your castle hasn't been edited since patch 18. That's possible, because the leash range has been nerfed. And that seems like it would have connected probably last patch. As a knight, it doesn't matter as much, but as an archer, if I got the headshot on the Zeke, he would probably die, especially if it was a crit. Alright. Yeah, the same kind of applies here, but it's a little bit less as important because I can't get straight to the Zeke. But if you don't have the bodyguard already attached, there's always a chance that there's a way of killing it, you know? Alright, I'm gonna kill off this puppeteer before anything else. Kill off the support. I think that's one thing that you could change, is the support is a little bit too exposed. I'd like it better if he was back in this corner or something. And then the boxing gloves, I personally think the boxing gloves, unless you're using it for a specific purpose, like you want to slow me to make archer shots hit, or you want to slow me to make a Cyclops more effective, or you want to slow me to make, you know, your Vamps or Stab Assassins more effective, or something like that, I think that the other 2 specializations are just better, unless you have specific circumstances that will benefit from me being slowed. Alright, is this the boss room? Okay. So this one again, you have the derp being defended rather than anything else. You obviously don't want the derp to be defended. So that's something that you'll want to fix. And again, it could be the patch that has screwed with your castle rather than you know, it being this way regardless. And then the other thing is I think this group over here is skippable. Pretty sure. yeah, I can just get to the boss room right here. So you'll want to put that somewhere different. One of those two groups. So basically one of them needs to be centered more, and the other one needs to be placed somewhere different in your castle if you want something, if you want them to have to engage every one of your groups, which obviously is ideal. Alright. Other than those things, it was a pretty okay castle. Actually got some loot from it. So yeah, that is number 3, so we'll end the video here. If you guys enjoyed, please subscribe, as always. If you want to be a part of Eurocastles, you can email me at frenzycastleruns@hotmail.com. There's a spreadsheet in the description of the video letting you guys know where your name is on the list. I update it every couple of days, so if you don't see your name right away when you apply for Eurocastles, don't worry. It'll get updated eventually. If it's been like a week and a half, then I would say, you know, look into it, maybe message me, you know, comment on my castle or comment on a video or something letting me know, hey, you haven't updated your list or whatever. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.